Question of the day. What is your favorite thing about Disney parks? Now, before you get cynical in the answers, because I know some people will be like, nothing, the sweating, the lines. I understand all that. We're huge Disney park fans in this house, like massive. I'm looking at multiple Disney park things in the office right here, not to mention our coffee stand is completely Disney parks. Love it, right? I'm a much bigger Disney parks fan than I even am a Disney fan, which I know is kind of hard to believe. But what I mean by that is I'm not clamoring for every brand new show or movie that comes out, but I'm clamoring for every single moment I can spend in Epcot first, then Disneyland, then California Adventure, then Magic Kingdom. No, sorry, Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom, then Animal Kingdom. In that order. And if your order is different, you're probably wrong. I'm just kidding. But let me know in the comments below, what do you love about Disney parks? Because today we're talking about a game straight out of Disney parks. This is one of the, I think this was the first one done in the whole Disney parks ride games. Now, the reason I'm reviewing this now, because it's been out for a little while, is because my daughter got it for Christmas. And it's one of it's my youngest daughter's favorite ride, ironically, is the Haunted Mansion. And we got the Disneyland cover. I believe there's a difference if you go to Disney World or get it at Target. But regardless, we have the Disneyland cover, and we are super excited about playing this. So let's take a look at what Disney... The Haunted Mansion Call of the Spirits game does, how it plays. We'll come back up and talk final thoughts right now. All right, here is the Haunted Mansion set up for 3 players. So you're going to start with your Haunted Ghost, your what am I saying? Your Hitchhiking Ghost. Right here. Now I do like this miniature. It's kind of hard to see necessarily, but there's a lot of detail there and it really looks great. And if you're a huge Disney fan like us, which we're wild Disney fans, then it's pretty cool to see that. You also, the art in this game is tremendous. I want to show you the back of the cards and things like that. I love the pattern of the Haunted Mansion in the first place. We're bigger Disneyland fans than Disney World, and I believe we actually bought the Disneyland front cover edition, which I think there's 2 different ones. I could be completely wrong on that, but we specifically bought it in Disneyland, and it looks different than the other one. And I do know the difference, obviously. New Orleans Bayou and then the other one. But these are the ghost cards. So these are all cards in which you're going to be collecting these cards to score points in different ways. So, for instance, this one is just you gain 2 points, but you can move the Hitchhiking Ghost. This is a set collection. You can get 3 of these signs or 1 of each of the signs for the stretching hallway there, the stretching room. And you get 18 points if you get all 4, 15 if you get 3 of the same. Some of them are collect 2 of the same symbol, or some of them are almost science-based, like in Seven Wonders. In fact, it's green. I love that green things always are exponential in games. The shoes are a pair for 7. I want to see the frames. The frames have a funny one. It's 3 points for 1, 0 for 2, 12 for 3. So you got to be careful. That'll stick you. This one is just draw a random ghost card from the deck when you collect it, and some of them will let you move the ghost, as well as some of them will score points. They have the white border. 2 points plus 2 per each top hat you have, and there's a couple like that. The other cards that are here are the haunt cards. These are negative cards. They all just have a number 1, 2, or 3. What you're going to do is when you have to take a haunt, for instance, every round the Hitchhiking Ghosts are going to move. So in this case, they'll move 3 spaces counterclockwise. So 1, 2, 3. You'll then place cards, ghost cards, onto the board based on player count. It's 2 times the player count, but it's 2 to the first room with the ghosts, the Hitchhiking Ghost. And then you'll go clockwise, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this player count. Now, on your turn, you can do some interesting things. Now, the only spaces in the game are these spaces here. Now, granted, if you're on this space, you're in this room. So, the first action you can do is move. You can move your character 1 space. The second thing you can do is collect from one of the cards in that location. If you collect where the Hitchhiking Ghosts are, you take 2 haunt cards. Also, when the Hitchhiking Ghosts move, if they move through your space, let's say they moved here through my space, I would take a haunt. If they land on my space, I would take 2 haunt cards. So kind of negative stuff there. And also, like I said, if you collect while you're on the space with the Hitchhiking Ghost, you take a haunt as well. And I'll explain what the haunts do at the end of the game. Then you have the other action you can do is collect. So you can just take a card. The third thing you do is rotate. And you can rotate this whole board, which kind of puts some funny shenanigans. And normally you can only move 1 space at a time. But when you rotate, you can rotate as far as you want to, which could really set you up pretty well for the next turn. Or put somebody else in a negative situation. The next thing you can do is duel. So you can duel. Basically, you're going to collect a card from someone else. You're going to bid 0, 1, 2, or 3, and whoever has the highest total will get that card. The defender has home team advantage and will keep the card in a tie. Whatever you bid is how many haunt cards you have to take. So in our case, we would take 1 haunt card for bidding 1. The last thing you can do is discard. If you're in the seance room, you can discard a haunt card. Now, there are certain event cards that are going to change, well, every event card changes the rules of the game a little bit. You'll shuffle the final round into the bottom 4 cards, or bottom 3 cards, yeah, the bottom 3 cards, and this will shuffle up, and then when this triggers, it'll be the final round. You're also going to get rid of as many cards as there are players, just to kind of streamline the timing a little bit, so each game will have the same amount of turns no matter what. But see, these things, they'll move the ghost, and it says, after putting ghost in the mansion, move all ghost cards in rooms adjacent to the hitchhiking ghost into their room. So they do a lot of funny shenanigans like that. The game will play until that final round is triggered. You'll finish that round. Then you're going to count your points, and then you're going to see who has the highest number of haunts. Whoever has the highest haunt total will then have to discard their highest scoring set, which in the last game we just played just cost me 12 points. But that's how you play the Haunted Mansion Call of the Spirits game. So that's it, right? It is, first and foremost, a great looking game. I love the way this game looks. It has a Clue top-down feel, but it's pieces and scenes from the Haunted Mansion ride. And then it goes further. The backs of the cards to me look great. Now I'm going to ding it. I don't like the card quality. I don't like the haunt cards are too small. The paper on the cards is too thin. I would rather just have a nice, well, I take that back. The ghost cards are fine. The haunt cards, and for some reason the event cards feel a little thin to me, but I don't like the size of the haunt cards either. I think they're just too small. They're like those Mega Man cards that were like, what is this like when they used to sell those gimmicked tiny playing card decks for magic tricks to end on, like the shrinking deck trick. Not a fan of that size. However, visually, the game looks great. I love the way it looks. I love the Hitchhiking Ghost miniature. I love the miniatures for yourself. I love the art on the cards. It's done in a stylized, cartoony style, but it's straight out of the ride. And there's so many Easter eggs. If you're a fan of the Haunted Mansion, this is loaded with Easter eggs for fans who love this ride, which we do. So now let's talk about gameplay, because there are no symbols really. When I always do art, then art direction, then gameplay, usually that's a flow chart from the way it looks on its own to how the way it looks affects gameplay to how gameplay is. The only thing you need to know is there are symbols on each card, and each card scores differently. So certain cards will score like the scientific cards in Seven Wonders. The more you have, the more you get. Granted, there's not a set of them like, you know, boom, boom, boom. They're just exponential scoring, I should say. Some of them are kind of a weird, if you have 1, it's 3 points, 2 is 0 points, 3 is 12 points. So all sorts of funny things like that. So they score based on the number in the bottom left. The other thing is that neat little duel thing for dueling. It looks good. It's not really that necessary. You could just hold up that many fingers if you wanted to, I guess, but it does look nice, and it's a nice little piece to have. So if you're a Disney fan, the gameplay in this is not something that's going to be instantly like, oh yeah, that's just like the ride. You don't duel in the ride. I've never jumped out of my cart to duel because they'll stop the ride immediately. But the collecting the cards is cute, right? The idea that you're going in and getting those cards and seeing the sight. So it's almost, if you picture that's what you're doing. You're riding the ride and seeing these different pictures and things. Then it really feels a little more thematic, but you don't duel. Give me that memory back right now. But all in all, I like the mechanics of this game as far as moving and rotating. I like the whole rotation thing. It's kind of zany. It kind of plays up the whole idea of the Haunted Mansion in the first place. And then you have the collecting. You know, you're going and collecting these sets, but you got to be careful not to get too many haunts. And then you kind of almost push your luck in the way that, well, if I go there, I really need that card, but I might get a really bad haunt card. So all in all, mechanically, it's very sound how it plays. If you don't like kind of mean games or games that can take that a little bit, you're not going to like this, because everything you do will probably directly have someone going, oh, that's what I wanted to do. What are you doing? Stop it. If you rotate the board, oh, come on, I had set myself up. Any of that kind of stuff can happen. So you just got to be careful with that. But if you don't like take-that games, I'd skip it. If you do like take-that games, at least mild take-that games, you're going to like this one if you're a Disney file like us. So beautiful looking game, because I love the theme. It's not that deep of a concept. You're just going around collecting cards. And at the end of the day, it's a little mean, a little take-that. So at the end of the day, is this a game I'm going to get out and play game night? Actually, yes. I think this one will hit our game group's game night as a quick filler, only because all of us are major Disney Parks fans. So, but is it the game you're going to go check out on the cruise or check out on Dice Tower East and be like, guys, we got to get a game of this in right before Queen's Gambit? Of course not, no. So a solid 7 is what this gets. It's a 7 for the art and the visuals alone. The gameplay is a little bit, it's all we're doing. The fact that you can set some people up or take their moves away is available to you. But at the end of the day, pretty straightforward, pretty streamlined, good for kids, good for families, good for game groups. So that is the Haunted Mansion Call of the Spirits. I'm Brian Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, etc. Dice Tower Brian. Make sure to check out the merch store. We're rolling out all sorts of new stuff, including a new promo this week. So that is it for this today. See you next time.